listening to the LOZ Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the LOZ Podcast Network. My name's Ken Lawler. I'm the developer of the LOZ app. And on the LOZ Podcast Network, we talk to people every day at Lake of the Ozarks who are either organizations or businesses or just people we want to talk to and talk about. Today we're going to have someone on that I think is going to be really interesting because with all of us at the lake, a majority of us are not full-timers. We have a place at the lake that we come to for the season or throughout the year, but we're not there all the time. And what that does is it makes us worry about our homes because we're not there to watch them. And so today we have on Tim Schuett with Lake Guard Home Watch Services, and he's going to tell us why he can fix all those problems. Tim, how you doing today?
Hi, Ken. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Hey, as I was telling our listeners, a lot of us, including me, I don't live at the lake full time. I'm there in the summers. I might be there a little bit throughout the year, but certainly I have these moments where I wake up and go, did I remember to turn the water off? Did I remember to winterize? Did I pull that hose off the outside of the house? Is my boat lift up? Is it going to stay up? All those things, I think, are things that people think about all the time, right? And we all have these homes and a lot of money invested in these homes, and it's like one small little thing could throw it into a whack. Tell us what you do for Lake Guard Home Watch Services. What is your guys, what do you do for lake homeowners?
Well, we set up weekly or biweekly checks that we tailor to the property owner's needs and the home's needs. And we're checking the outside of the home. We're checking the inside of the home. We're checking their boat docks. Obviously there's a lot of money invested there on the boats, jet skis, all the toys, that they want to play, have a good time with their families and friends. And then inside the house is, where the memories are made. And so we're coming in, we're looking for obvious issues. We want to make, small problems, small issues, and we want to take care of them before they become large problems for our clientele. And for us, it's go in very detail oriented. You provide a detailed electronic report for them and photos so they get to see the current state of their vacation property here at Lake of the Ozarks.
And that's kind of important too, because we all think, okay, we've got, camera systems now. So our camera systems can, catch everything. Well, they really can't. I mean, they can look into a room. You can't tell if water's leaking somewhere with the camera. It's good to tell if someone's in your home and if somebody's, around there. But as far as, real detailed reports and what you guys are doing, you're actually getting in there and doing some really specific things, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we're looking at, hey, is that thermostat operating properly? And, you get a lot of times the HVAC failures are just to a simple battery change on your thermostat. And so we can take care of that. We can identify that issue before it becomes a problem. Obviously, if you have really cold weather, like we're talking about maybe a potential snowstorm coming in now and cold temperatures, and you have your a thermostat batteries go dead, and now your system's down. Now you have potential for freezing pipes and then water damage and so forth. So for us,
and that's kind of the worst thing, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, but if you get a burst pipe in the winter, that is a major, major deal. And I mean, we all carry insurance, but you don't want to go through that.
No, that's the thing. You have the insurance and all that, but part of that also for homeowners that may not know, there's usually a vacancy clause in your policy. And so this is put in there by the underwriters to kind of, cover their risk. And they know statistically that, hey, if this is not your primary home, you're not there, and something happens, chances are it's going to be much costlier damages. With water, it can go from a few thousand, just a little drips to 50, 100,000 plus, real quick, depending on the home and where the water, leak occurred. So.
Yeah, and I mean, there's all kinds of places where you need, someone to look at it. I mean, look, like just right here, you're on the dock, you're checking dock electric. I'm sure you're checking if there's a bubbler that needs to be on because of the ice. Is the boat up on the lift? What are all the outdoor things that you need to check on during the season? Because you've got all these expensive toys. And I mean, people have hundreds of thousands of dollars in a lot of this stuff, and you're kind of hoping and praying that lift you put in, holds air and nothing happens to it, which, if it drops in the water and you got $100,000 boat sitting in the water, that's a problem.
Yes. The first thing we talk about is with boats. And I mean, over the past few weeks, I've seen it on social media. Anybody have an idea whose boat this is floating out there in the main channel or a ski? And this is always the first thing. Unfortunately, lifts fail, especially during cold weather like this. And so tie up your boat, put ropes on it. It does not take very long, just a few seconds, loop it on there. And at least if your lift fails, it keeps it there in your boat well. And the same thing with your jet skis. And, for us, we're checking, making sure the electrical is working properly, or, a number of my clients, they'll just shut off the electrical altogether during the times. And then for me, if there's a lift issue, we just ran into it, a matter of fact, a week ago. I have a client that has two very, very expensive boats. And the first one it's an automatic boat lift. And so if it drops down, it'll automatically lift. Well, it ended up a failure code. And
of course, when it needed it most.
Yep. So I had to go in. I know what to do. We cleared it out, and it took care of the issue. And then it got the boat back up. And then I look across in his other slip, and here is this boat is leaning to one side. And so this one is, you've got a slight leak in the one tank. And so we pumped it back up, and, the first two tanks, they bubbled right away. And then it took a few minutes for this third one to bubble. And this thing, the outboard was partially down into the water. And so we got it up out of there, and we continue to monitor. And those are the things, you can take care of. And I even have some clients who have cameras on their boat dock and see the issues. But again, you
can't do it. Yeah. You could be 4 or 5, 6 hours away. Yeah. That's the thing too. It's like, okay, so why should I hire Tim and his company to watch all my stuff? Well, take into consideration what one trip to the lake costs you if it's 6 hours away, and you have just the lost time that you already have stuff going on at home, work, whatever, the travel, the finding someone to help you fix it when you get there, all the things that go into just one incident probably pays for you guys for a whole year. So, I mean, it's like, there's so many things that we all run into. And like you said, you might have a fail safe to a fail safe to a fail safe, and they all fail. And then you still have a problem. Well, when you guys are in the market and you're right there and you can run over and take a look, that really gives people a lot of good peace of mind.
Absolutely. And it goes through things inside too. We have a number of our clients that not only have refrigerators and things like that, and we actually go and we'll check in there. Do they have any food that's, getting rotten or anything like that, or is the refrigerator operating properly? Well, we do a temperature check. I actually have a temperature probe that I'll scan an item in the refrigerator, and we'll take a picture of that so that the client gets to see, hey, okay, yep, my refrigerator's operating at 37 degrees. And then we'll do the same thing down in their freezer, and they get to see that. It's like, okay, yep, it's down at 2 degrees, the freezer or so forth. And then some of them actually have wine. I have some where they have their white wine. They keep it at 37 degrees. And then the red wine, I believe it's at 59. And so we'll do the same thing and make sure that, hey, they made some investments in expensive.
Oh yeah, some people could have some expensive wine cabinets. That's for sure. So tell me a little bit about what exactly you moved to the lake, and this is something you just started, or is this something you brought with you, or how did you get to the lake, and what tell us a little bit about your life at the lake itself.
Okay. I'm an Iowa farm boy. Grew up in Northwest Iowa. And there, I guess I kind of learned my work ethic. And, for us, it was always God, family, and community. And so you always took care of your neighbors. Our family farm is 7 miles away from the nearest town. So our neighbors were important. They took care of us. We took care of them. And so that mentality I brought down here. We started vacationing down here, Lake of the Ozarks, I believe somewhere right around 2008, 2009, and just fell in love with it and said, here, eventually we want to get a place here on the lake. And finally, actually a job opportunity brought me here. We had moved down to Arkansas, and it was too far away from our grandkids and our kids in Iowa. So I had job opportunity here in this area. And so we moved here and became full-time residents on the lake. We're down here at the 45-mile marker. It used to be kind of the quiet section of the lake, but
right.
That's changing. And so I immediately, without even meeting any of my neighbors, there in 2017, we closed the end of November that year. And I started watching their homes. It was just something natural that you do, because I thought, hey, that what a way to kind of help them out, fix things if I saw something. And then in the spring, obviously, when people started to finally come down, Memorial Day weekend, the weekenders started showing up, and they got to learn who I was, and so quickly they started trusting me. I mean, I have a number of my neighbors who are clients for me today, because they appreciate what I do for them, and it. Once I kind of retired from my job in March of 23, this just made sense, and I just thought, it's not only can I help my neighbors, but I kind of view this entire lake as these are all my neighbors. And if I can help them out, then that's what I do.
Well, and we got a little something here that obviously the Climax Springs, they appreciate you there, and that's kind of the area you're in, right? You're kind of on that Kaufman Bend, Climax Springs area, and that's something cool. I mean, that's what the LOZ app is all about: locally owned businesses, neighbors, people you work with, people you're hanging out with, people you're going to church with. That's really the cool part of what we put together in the LOZ app. Is we're not taking these big company chains that are from out of town. Mm-hmm. You are the perfect example of a locally owned company that's helping local people with a very specific problem that happens when they have to leave their homes, they have to do something, and then they have problems. Then it's that's where you come in. Now let's talk about how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Best way, I always say, obviously check out our website, lakeguardmo.com, and you can see what all the services that we provide. And then you can also, give us a call. 573-345-3553 is the best way. And I usually have my mobile number, as well.
That's awesome. And I just would encourage everyone of our users who's watching this today, like, this is a service that you need. And even if you don't need it, you might know a neighbor who does. And, what we've got here is we've got an individual who lives at the lake. His family's at the lake. He's one of us. And we really want to promote, people using local services. And I think you are the epitome of that. You come in, you help people with a problem. We have hundreds of thousands of people who are at this lake, but don't spend every day here. They're transitory. So, that's where your service comes in. And like we said, it just takes one incident per year to more than pay for the service. So it's something that it's almost like a no-brainer. So I would encourage everyone to call Tim, Lake Guard Home Watch Services, sign up, get that peace of mind that you're looking for. And even if it's something that you don't need, recommend it to a neighbor who might need it as well. And Tim, thanks so much for joining us today on the LOZ Podcast Network. And we look forward to talking to you later in the year, maybe as we get into the fall on, hey, okay, the season's over. Now what do we got to do? And that's kind of your big rush time, right?
It is. I mean, we have a lot of snowbirds on this lake as well, as the weekenders, as I talked about. So it kind of, there's 3 phases. October 1st is your first phase that they leave. November 1st is the second. And then December 1st is the third. So it keeps us busy. We're busy right now. And then obviously with a potential storm coming in, we're kind of that emergency preparedness that we offer our clients. If they want us to check in after a storm has happened, then we'll set the work order in place and we'll get it done.
Well, and that's why this episode is going to be so timely, because I think a lot of our users will be sitting at home during the snowstorm watching this episode and thinking, man, I wish I'd have called Tim before this snowstorm. I'm not going to let another one happen. So, Well, anyway, we really appreciate having you on the show. Like I said, we'll talk to you later on in the year as well. But everybody go check out Lake Guard Home Watch Services. Give Tim a call and make sure that you get signed up with the service.
Thanks a lot, Ken.
Thanks, Tim.